Hi, hello, konnichiwa, kumusta ko banpa? My name is Trisha Nicole Parinas, and this is my assignment one, the Math Wizard Education Tool submission video. Based on the rubrics and instruction, I believe that the purpose of this program is to simulate math practice sessions for multiple students while also tracking overall statistics for the entire application. First, here I created a difficulty enum following the requirements for it to contain easy, medium, and hard as constants. Since the program requires predefined difficulty levels, using an enum prevents invalid values and makes the code easier to read compared to using strings or numbers. Then the difficulty level is later stored inside each math session object along with what range of numbers will be generated for the math questions. Then I created the math session class. The first important concept is static variables. I created total questions asked and total correct answers as static variables because these values must be shared by all math session objects. I also created instance variables student name, score, level, and random. These are instance variables because every student should have their own separate information. Alice should have her own score and Bob should have his own score. Using instance variables keeps their data independent from one another. For random number generation, I use secure random instead of math.random. Because the assignment specifically requires secure random, I initialize the secure random object inside the constructor. And since the assignment requires demonstrating variable shadowing, the parameter names match the instance variable name. To correctly assign the values, I use this.studentName equals student name and this.level equals level. I just learned this too, but basically the this keyword tells Java that I am assigning the parameter values to the object's instance variable. Next, I implemented method overloading using generateQuestion. The first version has no parameters. This version generates numbers based on the student's difficulty level. Easy generates number from 1 to 10, medium generates numbers from 1 to 50, and hard generates numbers from 1 to 1000. The second version accepts an integer parameter called specific range on line 63. This overloaded method ignores the difficulty level and instead generates numbers between 0 and the specified range, satisfying the assignment's challenge mode requirement. Both versions increment the static variable total questions asked because every generated question should be counted globally. Then we have the process answer method. This method compares the user's answer with the correct answer using an if statement, meaning if the answer is correct, the program prints correct, increments the student scores, and increments the static total correct answer variables. But if the answer is incorrect, the program would simply print incorrect. Then I created the static method print global stats. This method displays the total questions generated and total correct answers across all sessions. Because it is a static method, it only accesses static variables and does not access instance variables like student name. This method follows the assignment requirement regarding static method. Lastly, here we have getter method. In this case, I got get student name and get level to simply allow other classes to access private instance variables safely. Finally, in the Math Wizard test class, I created the main method to test the program. The first object is Alice with difficulty.easy. The second object is Bob with difficulty.medium. I created two math session objects exactly as required by the assignment. For Alice, I call generate question with no arguments. So her question is generated based on her difficulty level. While for Bob, I called the overloaded generate question method with a value of 100, which creates a custom challenge questions. And of course, I use Scanner to allow the user to enter answers. The answers are passed to process answer, which checks if answers are correct or incorrect. And at the end, I called mathsession.print global stats to display the shared statistics from both sessions. And now I will run the program. If I enter the correct answer, the score and global correct answer counts increase. So if I enter a wrong answer just like this, the program would then demonstrate the validation logic. And there we have it. The program thus generates two questions in total and recorded one correct answer. This demonstrates that the static variables are correctly tracking information across multiple objects while each student maintained their own individual session data.